I'm Clay Howell with Howell Hardwood Flooring, and we're here in the Bancroft house today with Mallory Bancroft and Marty Daniel. Marty's the contractor, Mallory's the homeowner with her husband Bill. Would you tell us a little bit how y'all chose the Hapwood floors?
Well, we had decided that we wanted new floors and we didn't really know where to begin, so we had a friend, his name was Andy McDuffie, and we knew he sold hardwood, so I gave him a call one day when I was leaving school, and he said, I know just what you need, and I will meet you at your house at this time. And so he showed up and he gave me some options. We talked about it, and it sounded like a really good idea. He put me in contact with Marty.
So Marty, when you came, you saw a house with different surfaces. How did you help the Bancrofts realize this would work for them? And then how did you get to the point of choosing the floor that was eventually down this mill-crafted 7-inch 3/8 plywood?
Well, she actually talked about resanding her floors that were here, which was a pre-finish engineer. There wasn't enough surface to refinish that floor, so you got to go with something new. And the only options were tear up the tile and the pre-finished floor, the engineered floor, and go down with the product after we demoed it, or putting this on top of it, which we decided, it would be better to put this on top. Everything, all the floor was in good, stable condition. The tile, no, there was no loose tile, so we just decided that would be the best thing, would be to put this on top of that. And in the rooms that were carpet, we could just put a 3/8 plywood to match up to everything that was here, and then we could just lay it all level through the whole house. And they liked that idea better, which I did as well. Less demo, it's less expensive, and it works out real well.
So no demo, and from start to finish, it took how long for this project?
2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay.
To the day.
All right. So then Mallory, how about color, gloss level? How did you pick some of the details? How did you and Marty work together on that?
Well, he suggested, the provincial color, because he had asked me, what are you looking for? My previous hardwood was a little more of an orange color, and I wanted it very brown. So he decided that the provincial would make the wood look really good, and he did a stain for me and let me look at it, and we decided he could thin it out a little bit because my house is kind of dark, and we didn't want a really dark stain. So he lightened it up by thinning it out, and I think it turned out to be everything I wanted. And I didn't even know it could be this good.
I loved your story earlier. You said a friend saw pictures of the house and asked you, did you move? Was that?
Yeah, so I had a friend send me a message, and she said, where did you move to? And I said, I didn't move anywhere. I just had my floors redone.
So 2 weeks you had new floors and basically a new house.
It's a brand new house.
And so let's see, Marty, you said you had carpet. You put a little 3/8 plywood
3/8
down.
plywood, we glued it and nailed it to the concrete slab.
Okay.
So it would match up with the existing engineered hardwood floor that we were covering up, and it would also match up. It was close to matching up with the tile, a little bit lower, but we were able to transition that over to where you don't know that there was ever anything else under here except what you got now.
I think you were showing us in the area that went from tile to the old pre-finished wood. Because it was 7-inch and 3/8, you were able to do what craftsmen do. You were able to bend it just a little bit and drop it, and then you look at it now and never.
Nobody will ever know that there was a little bit of difference between the three different areas of floor that was here. There was 3 different levels of floor, and we've got it all level now.
And then you did some other special things around the door jambs, the fireplace. That's what you craftsmen do really, really well. Tell us a little bit about some of those features.
Well, I made all the trim work to go to border the fireplace hearth and all the doors that are still going into a tile area like the bathrooms. Don't like the pre-finished and things that are already made because they're made in general, they're not really made to fit the situation you're in. So we made our own transition so that you'll never know when you go from one to the other, it just looks natural.
It's flush. There really isn't much of a transition.
Right.
So you've got the entire downstairs in now one floor.
Yes, from 3 to 1.
Okay, 3 to 1. All right. Yeah. And how about the gloss level? How did y'all decide that? And I heard y'all talk about that a little bit earlier.
So he suggested when he called and asked me what kind of finish I wanted, that they had a glossy or semi-gloss and a matte.
Gloss, a satin, or a matte.
Yes, and so I had my mind already set on the matte because it's kind of a big thing right now, but he suggested doing the matte because we have 4 kids and a dog, and it doesn't show the wear as much as if you had more of a glossy finish. And that sounded exactly what I needed.
Well, absolutely beautiful. Yeah. Marty, any other things you might say? You use Mape glue, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that's that works directly on top of the tile.
You can go on just about any substrate it sticks well to, and it adheres very well to the wood floor as well. Hadn't really found anything it doesn't stick to yet, so it's a really good adhesive.
Yeah. I think you were telling us earlier the key is just make sure that an existing floor doesn't have hollow spots or delamination.
Right.
But if it does that, you can go across multiple surfaces. So again, you've got plywood, which you had to put down.
Right.
You've got tile, and then you got an old pre-finish.
Old pre-finished.
And that Mape works
Yep.
on on all of those.
Goes for all of them, and it just makes everything just go smoothly together. I mean,
that sounds great. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for letting us film just a lovely home. Matt, or any closing comments to friends or things that you'd say you'd recommend or would do it again? Any changes?
I would recommend if you want to change something, change it. Because this was the most doable thing that I thought I would never be able to do, and thankfully I knew somebody who could direct me, and I just appreciate everything y'all done. I mean, you set me up to succeed here.
Well, thank you very much. Marty, you've of course spent the early part of your career with 3/4 nail down, doing those. So site finish engineered is a little bit newer. You've been doing it obviously for a number of years, but what do you think are some advantages of the site finish engineered versus the nail down? Or if contractors were saying, I hadn't done that, do you recommend it in certain cases or most cases, or what do you think about it?
Well, it works in just about any case. You can use a solid material. You can still use this material.
Okay.
The sanding on it is not as intense because you don't have the overwood you have with a solid material.
Okay.
So you're not removing as much material. This has got a good wear layer, which is almost equal to that of a solid material. And like I say, you don't get the movement, you don't get the cupping or any of that you get with a solid material. It's really stable. It doesn't move as much as a solid material moves. I like the product.
I've heard a guy joke and say laying a floor like this is like taking a day off compared to nail down. Does it go down easier? Is it quicker to do than a nail down?
In some ways not.
Okay.
Nail down, I've just done it so long I can almost close my eyes and do it. And with this, you are gluing it down and you're not nailing it, so it takes a little time to get used to starting to lay it where it's not moving around with you till the glue sets. Once you get some of it where it's set, you can just go from there on and not have to worry about it. But
do you face nail your starter row or anything like
if
that?
it's to where I can. Since we had a wood in here where I started, I could actually face nail it with short brad nails to hold it in place to get started. But of course, now in this tile area here, you can't nail into the tile because you can't shoot a nail in it. There are ways you can do it, but it's a little more intense. But it takes a little longer on a hard surface to get it going, but once you get it going, get it straight, it's just easy going from there.
And I think I've seen you guys use blue tape to start with, just
Yes.
so that just until that glue can set. Is that the purpose? You just don't want them slipping apart.
That it helps keep them from slipping apart, whenever, not just when you're getting started through the whole process, but as in any slab, none of them are perfect. When you go over humps, the wood has to move with it. So it might start pulling this way or that way, so you need that tape to hold it together, or you start getting a lot of cracks in it all different ways, and that helps hold it together.
Yeah.
Because as you go over humps and down in the little low spots, it's like trying to cover a basketball with a piece of paper and not have any wrinkles in it. You just can't do it. So the tape helps
Okay.
to keep it all together.
Sounds good. Well, thanks so much to you both. Lovely floor, lovely home. Y'all have a nice Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
All right, good.